My first ever T110E5 game. If you've already watched my M103 video, this replay is going to be a little bit on the familiar side to you. Incidentally, if you've already played the M103, the T110E5 is going to feel very familiar to you, because the playstyle of the T110E5 is simply a continuation of the M103. All the good things that the M103 has going for it are things that the T110E5 also excels at. There's that fantastic mobility, gun depression, the gun that's got a decent punch, but more importantly a great rate of fire, not as laser accurate as the British, but a hell of a lot better than the German and Soviet counterparts. And the biggest difference between the M103 and the T110E5, and oh, what a difference this is. When they recently upgraded the T110E5 model to HD, they gave it such an armor buff. This thing is stupidly well armored. And that stupidly good armor upgrade, it's not just a little stupid, this is Donald Trump grasp of policy stupid. Creationism and science class levels of stupid. The levels of how stupidly good the armor buff was is on par with holding the last Harry Potter novel back for a week so that it could be translated into American English levels of stupid. What I'm saying here is the frontal armor on the T110E5 is so amazingly good it is practically idiot-proofed. Just point the front of your tank at the enemy and let the armor do the thinking for you. And the major difference that makes to your playstyle is the fact that it allows you to be a lot more aggressive with the T110E5 than you are with the M103. Because you're not having to trick the enemy into taking bad shots at you, you are no longer beholden to solid cover in anywhere near the same degree as you were with the M103. Now I'm about to get involved in my first fight. The enemy was very rude and refused to come out and feed me, so I have to go hunting for my own meals. And you've got to feel bad for the T-34. Tier 8 heavy tank versus Tier 10. It is incredibly outmatched here. But if you have to be the token Tier 8 sacrifice to a Tier 10 heavy, you want to be a T-34, don't you, with that amazing 248mm of pen. Unfortunately, all that penetration doesn't mean very much at all, because that shot into my tracks is the only shot he's going to get that pins. The side of my tank is an auto-penetration zone for pretty much every gun in the game at this tier, and when firing at the front of my tank, the only place he can penetrate is just to either side of the tracks on the lower glacis itself, or an expertly sniped shot at the collar of my machine gun turret. And because the T-34 is rocking back and forth to try and throw my shots off, without success, he never gets a chance to range his gun in on my weak spots. He should have really accepted that he's dead already, and just do his best to sit still, range in, get the shots where they count, and make sure that at least some damage is farmed off me before he falls. Now, it was at this point of the game that I found it very difficult to hear and concentrate on anything other than the mad cackling emanating from my platoon mate Fyron, who managed a 1240 odd damage shot into the Waffenträger of E100 with his Death Star, shutting it down rather violently. Fyron loves Big Alpha as much as the next guy, and funnily enough, it also turns out that Fyron really loves gratuitous ammo racks. But honestly, who doesn't love a nice rack? So I've effectively spent a couple of minutes driving around the scenic route of the map, got involved in a very brief street fight, farmed 2,000 odd damage, bounced 1,000 odd, made premium ammo look fucking ridiculous, and felt for all the world like I'm just out here taking a Sunday stroll. This is the big change you get with the T110E5, a completely unwarranted sense of invincibility, but it's hard not to appreciate it. You just roll on up, punch dudes, and laugh at the impotence of their return shots. As long as you can keep the fight in front of you, it's going to be very hard for the enemy to deal with your armor. And while they're trying to aim at your weak spots, while they're sitting still, letting their shots range in, they're sitting ducks for you. All it takes is a little wiggle, a bit of back and forth on your part, and it's rather easy to throw shots off. And at the same time, you're able to plug shots away at them at a decent rate. Your gun is never going to be the sniper of the British FE215B, but the mobility characteristics on it are pretty damn good, allowing you to dance around your opponent, jugging and jiving like Muhammad Ali. landing enough blows to wear the enemy down. And for all the similarities between the Tier 9 British and American heavies, this is where their Tier 10s part ways dramatically. The FV is a traditional heavy sniper with ferocious DPM, but the T110E5 is a rapid mobile brawler, always on its feet and always swinging. So it wasn't an amazing or earth-shattering game. As you can see, it was only third-class mastery, so there's people doing a hell of a lot better than that. But as a first game, just picking it up that easy, it shows how strong this tank is. And brother, is it strong. It takes everything that I loved about the M103 and cranks that shit to 11. I have never had a bad game in this tank.